Crypto.XL. I hope everyone's doing all right and everything is good. So the market is kind of flustered right now and it's kind of worried, especially, the crypto market, right? But the markets in general, right? Because the stock market is also kind of worried. Stock market, if you look at the chart on the stock market, it kind of looks like an M pattern, which means that there is some volatility up ahead. So it does affect crypto. And it's just very, it seems like the time and the price points of what we projected in the past are coming into fruition. So we're not really surprised. I guess you could say it is kind of surprising because it's just happening like clockwork. Anything that has not happened yet is a event that brings us down a lot lower. The procedure plan is still the same. We're not going to change what we've been doing. We're going to stay in a short position until the end of the bear market, and we're going to use the funds that we accumulate during the shorts to buy the lows of the bear market. Being that we've now broken the 200-week moving average, the next drop, the next dump, should we stay broken, right? Should we close the week on this? First, we'd have to close the week on this break, right? So we'd have to close the week below 59K. So Sunday night, going into Monday morning, it would have to be below 59K. Then we would have to maintain that, 59K. Then we would have to maintain that and eventually get a significant drop. If that does happen, then the likelihood that we have a normal bear market cycle that finishes in Q4, somewhere around Q4, that would be more likely the case if we continue on the path we are. But these things would have to happen. We'd have to stay below the 200-week moving average and stay there for a while, right, for a couple weeks. And if that would be the case, that would mean that this would be the first week that we end up doing so. And if we do so, the likelihood that we have a normal bear cycle that finishes at Q4 of this year would be more likely. So this is all probability, right? And we're just going to play what the market gives us. We're going to have a thesis of what we think is going to happen, and we're going to watch step by step as each part of this thesis is matched, right, as it comes into fruition, as it becomes reality. And we're going to have points that if the market moves differently than how we expect it to play out, we're going to have levels that if it moves differently than how we expect it to play out, we'll know that our thesis would be incorrect. So anyway, to make a long story short, anytime Bitcoin is around a 200-week moving average, it is a good time to accumulate. Anytime Bitcoin is below the 200-week moving average, it's a better time to accumulate. So accumulating around these price points is a good idea, right? Do I think we're going to go lower? Yes. I think there's a chance that we go significantly lower. So making sure that there is funds to accumulate it even lower, well, that is paramount too. That's a very, it's important to do that. Hold on. What is going to be the low of the bull market, of the bear market? See, I got ahead of myself. I'm already thinking about the bull market. So in the bear market, I'm planning for the bull market. And in the bull market, I'm planning for the bear market. So the 786 fib is somewhere around 38K. It's somewhere down there. So, these are possible levels. But it's possible, too, that we don't go much lower from here and we end up rebounding and we end up going sideways from right here. Because we actually are around, right now we're right above the 200-week moving average, right? So So, or right below it, we're very close to it. So again, anytime Bitcoin is around these ranges, accumulating historically is proven to um, be good, be one of the best times to buy. I do feel that we are going to go lower. I think we're going to go to the 300-week moving average. I believe that's going to happen. I mean, we still do have a few months in the bear market if the cycles repeat itself, right? The the accumulation or the end of the bear market is supposed to be around October, right, of this year. So that still gives us around 4 or so months, and then we could still, go into the end of this year with low prices. So it does give us a few months to accumulate. In other words, we're not going to have a V-shaped recovery. That's not going to happen. It's highly unlikely. When we have crashing stocks and crashing crypto, the market takes a couple months to cool off and accumulate again, right? And Bitcoin's been in the bear market for quite a while now, actually, and more importantly, the cryptos that we're interested in have been in the bear market longer than Bitcoin. So we are in the last legs. If the cycle repeats itself, we're in the last legs of this bear market, which means that in the last legs of a bear market, Bitcoin below the 200-week moving average, that is a decent point to start accumulating altcoins. So I have started to deploy some capital. However, the main amount of capital has not been deployed because I am anticipating us touching the 300-week moving average. I believe that this is going to happen. I believe that we're going to start to head lower. But as we head lower, I'm going to continue to accumulate. And I'm going to keep my shorts open, actually, until closer to October, and also until closer to certain price points, until we get closer to the 38K-ish range, around there. And if we end up going down and we do not go to that range, I will start coming out of the shorts, right? I'm not just going to stay in there because, you have time-based capitulation and you have price-based capitulation, right? And if these levels are not hit within a certain amount of time, that would mean that the thesis has to be adjusted. So I'm not going to just stay in my thesis and ignore what the charts are doing. I'm going to follow the charts first. So how it stands right now, I think we have a game plan. I would not be panicking. I don't think you should be panicking if you're playing the 4-year cycle. And again, bounces could be used as a shorting opportunity. So I hope what I'm saying doesn't sound confusing, right? What I am saying is that I'm expecting lower for my long-term bag, since Bitcoin is already broken the 200-week moving average and is around there. For a long-term bag, 2-3 years out, it's perfectly fine to accumulate. For short-term, being in a short position on bounces until we get to the 786 on Bitcoin and until Q4 of this year doesn't seem to be a bad idea. And you can use the short position to accumulate at Q4 of this year, right? I hope that clarifies what I'm trying to say. I still think that we're going to have a bull market. I still think we're going to rebound, but I'm waiting for the market to completely capitulate. At complete capitulation is when I'll become more bullish. I don't think we've reached complete capitulation. I know the bear market's been a long time. The altcoins have been completely destroyed. But I remember the last bear market in 2021 with Terra Luna and FTX, and I remember there was a complete loss of hope with Voyager going out of business and other crypto exchanges losing everyone's funds and being hacked. And there was complete hopelessness. This is what I'm saying. When there's the most despair and when no one believes in crypto anymore, I believe that will be the end of the bear market. That will be the conclusive end of the bear market, and that will be the time to flip bullish 100%. All right, this has been Crypto.XL with your market update. I hope that you've prepared correctly and that you're managing your risk. Remember, nothing on this video was financial advice. It's just my opinion on the market, and I will see you at the top. Take care.